Very warm welcome to this course on international human rights offered on the edX platform. My name is Olivier de Schutter. I teach human rights law at the University of Louvain, and I also am a member of the United Nations Committee on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights, which is an expert body of 18 experts monitoring compliance with a major United Nations human rights treaty called the International Covenant on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. And between 2008 and 2014, I was the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the right to food, appointed at this position by the UN Human Rights Council. And so I hope in this course to provide you not only with a basic understanding of the doctrine of human rights law, the substance, if you wish, of the topic, but also some insights into how international monitoring of states' obligations has developed, particularly at the United Nations level. The course is divided up in 8 sections that another video shall describe briefly so that you have a basic understanding of the roadmap of the course, the itinerary that shall be followed across the materials. And each of the sections will require from you between 8 and 10 hours of work online. Although I should emphasize that the first section is the longest, perhaps the most difficult, the most demanding, not least because it will introduce you to some concepts, vocabulary that may be new to some of you, and that will require perhaps a supplementary investment on your part. But on the whole, 8 sections, 8 to 10 hours of work for each of the section, which means that you can reasonably hope to complete the course in a period that may last between 8 to 10 weeks if you work at a sufficiently rapid pace. The course is one that is meant for students and researchers, but it also is designed to serve the needs of activists, people working in non-governmental organizations, people working in social movements who want to use human rights as a tool in order to push forward the objectives for which these NGOs or these movements are established. It also can be useful to diplomats entering the world of human rights and wishing to understand better the system in which they operate and where the various mechanisms come from, which they shall become actors of. The course has as a tool a companion casebook, which is this International Human Rights Law casebook, now in its second edition since 2014, published at Cambridge University Press, and in which you can find a more detailed explanation of the topics covered, as well, of course, as a larger set of materials on the basis of which you may study human rights. I should emphasize, however, that buying the book is by no means compulsory. The online course is entirely self-contained, self-explanatory, and self-sufficient. But if you wish to investigate deeper certain issues, you may wish to buy this book, which follows the same structure than the online version of this course on international human rights. I would now like to ask the assistant to this course, Mr. Matthias Sant'Ana, to say a few words about the certificate that you may receive at the end of the course if you successfully complete the program, as well as a few words on the methods that shall be used in order to teach human rights law.
Thank you, Olivier, and welcome all to this course on international human rights. I will be assisting Professor de Schutter all throughout this course, and in particular, I will be interacting with you through the discussion fora, which are the preferred means of communication between the course staff and learner community. I'd like to point out that there are 2 general kinds of discussion fora in this course. The first is the questions and answers discussion fora, in which you will be asking us questions regarding the content or pointing out any problems you might be having with the course. There's one such Q&A discussion forum at the end of each section of the course. The second category of discussion fora are the topical or thematic discussion fora, which you'll find all throughout the course. In these, the course staff will be asking you a question regarding the subject matter of the course, and you are expected to share your views with your colleagues and to discuss with them on this question. Now, please note that this is a self-paced course, which means that in between your posting of a message and any response from your peers or from the course staff, some time may pass. So we would ask you to be patient and, above all, to go back and check after a few hours or even after a few days whether or not your question has been answered or whether your comments have been responded. And now a word on the issue of certification. We'd just like to point out that all students, regardless of how they enrolled in this course, will be able, at the end of this course, to obtain a certificate if they have reached the passing grade, which for this course is 60% of the total points. So this means that regardless of whether you are a non-honor code learner or an ID verified learner, you will be able to obtain a certificate by the end of this course. And you will be able to obtain the certificate as soon as you reach the passing grade, which is 60%, as I just mentioned. So that's it for me today. I hope to see you soon, and a very warm welcome to this course.
Well, thank you, Matthias, for these clarifications. I would now like to invite you to join the course, and I certainly look very much forward to our work together in this fast-changing area of international human rights. Very warm welcome again to international human rights on the edX platform.